The New Tech Times, a video magazine for the electronic age. In this edition, a family finds that teaching kids by computer takes more than just plugging one in. Also, the Playboy channel, public controversy over pay cable. Later, a review of educational software for kids, and a story about Stewart Brand's latest Whole Earth Catalog, a guide to new tech products. All this and more in this edition of the New Tech Times.
The New Tech Times is brought to you through a grant from Wausau Insurance Companies. Times change. Wausau works.
Hi, I'm Nicholas Johnson. If you've just found out about the New Tech Times, you're really going to like this show because we're rerunning 3 of the most popular segments from earlier shows, the Playboy channel, Bringing Computers Home, and Whole Earth Software. But if you watch the whole fall season with us, there's not too much that's new for you this week. And of course, you're more than welcome to hang around and watch. Pat Dixon has some new thoughts for you. But if you'd like to go play with your computer for the next half hour, or even some of your favorite humanoids, well, we'll understand. Just remember that next week we'll be starting our new season, 16 brand new shows to usher in Orwell's 1984. Now, if you're new to computers, you're probably overwhelmed with the dozens of companies and hundreds of models. And software, well, that can cost as much as a computer. Still not do what it's supposed to. Reliable evaluations are hard to find. Who's responding to this consumer need? Stewart Brand, who once gave us the Whole Earth Catalog, that's who. Here's Barry Stoner's profile.
There's so much stuff available, and that's, I think, what's making people who are shopping feel burdened. There's too much to shop among. So the book should be small and pretty straightforward and fiercely honest about what we think is good, and enough about why we think it's good so they can question our judgment and go off at a tangent to it.
This is Stewart Brand. He's in the catalog business here in Sausalito, California, across the bay from San Francisco. In this old converted warehouse, he collected information for his first mail-order wish book back in 1968, the Whole Earth Catalog. It was a comprehensive guide to everything you needed to outfit a counterculture, complete with Brand's own philosophical musings. The catalog was critically acclaimed and sold over 250 million copies. But times change. The age of Aquarius was replaced by the age of computers.
Of all of the groups now dealing with personal computers, I think the old Whole Earth Catalog bunch has the least immunity to them, and are designing them, writing the software, selling the stuff, writing books about it, waxing fat on this whole process.
And Stewart Brand is joining their ranks. He was recently advanced $1.3 million to produce a quarterly magazine that will form the basis for the Whole Earth Software Catalog.
The scope, all personal computer stuff, and hopefully some personal computer wisdom, but that's gravy and we'll see.
The first step was to rent a place to put the book together, hire editor Richard Dalton, who has the technical expertise, and start collecting software products to review.
This is just the beginnings of what we'll eventually have, because we expect to have thousands of programs overall. This is the beginnings of our research department. We have 3 people now who are acquiring software so that we can use it for evaluation of a particular program. In this room, we have the beginnings of what will be kind of a software laboratory so that we can test out programs, make sure they work, and show all the features of various types of software. One of the problems we've run across is that for all the computerization, no one's been able to figure out how to get rid of the boxes. Eventually, we'll be shipping some of these back, and in fact, there's going to be a lot more boxes before we're through.
Gathering the products to review is one problem, but gathering information about which products are good enough to buy is a bigger one.
There's a lot of gossip. It's how people mainly shop for stuff now, software, hardware, the whole gamut.
Users at this point really are the experts. The industry is trying to find out what people need. Users already know that.
We're really reaching out, mostly through the phone lines.
Matthew is part of our research department, and one of his jobs is to check in with the networks that we use to communicate with literally thousands of people all over the U.S. What we really want from them is 2 to 6 paragraphs that tells us why they love a particular program, and there are some real gems of wisdom in there.
This electronic network of contributing reviewers is a unique approach, and Stewart Brand needs the help to deal with the uncharted ocean of software information.
Of the people we have working on the software catalog, I think I know least about software specifically. But hopefully as an editor, in that sense, I can maintain the user or the buyer's point of view, which is a similar ignorance. You know, okay, I give up, I think I need this tool, what do I do now?
As products and reviews are collected, the scope of the magazine becomes more defined.
We have 2 publications, and the software review, which is a quarterly publication, will serve as a build-up to the Whole Earth catalog.
Well, we're not talking about how to use computers. We're talking about somewhat how to buy, and more especially what to buy.
And it will not be comprehensive. It won't cover the 40,000 or so programs that are out there. We're not going to provide a list of programs. We're going to provide evaluation of what's best.
It's a 200-page book, the Whole Earth software catalog, not as large as in page size even as the old Whole Earth catalog.
We are non-commercial. We don't accept advertising. Because of that, the ad department is not determining editorial content. In fact, the only thing that sells the magazine is our editorial content.
And that editorial content is guided by Stewart Brand.
He has a great understanding of what computers can do and how they affect people. He's not a technician, but he's quicker at evaluating the program and finding a bad one than anyone I've ever seen.
Well, the more you deal with this stuff, the more impatient you get. So if you've dealt with a fast program, then slow programs torture you. If you've dealt with a fast machine, then a slow machine like the Epson with Veldox just seems glacially, punishingly slow.
He's part artist, part writer, part actor, part seer, and it's been a rewarding experience so far. We haven't always agreed.
My first review of Word Vision, Richard Dalton, the editor, just cut to pieces, and I was in a sour mood for half a day because of that. But what had happened is I had either used technical terms, so much, you know, showing off that I knew them, and didn't explain them, or made up my own, like agility, as being a good thing about the program, and didn't explain what I meant by agility, and it became a problem.
And when problems get frustrating, Brand and his staff take a midday break from the catalog.
I know that we will start by making an extremely commercial product, and then hope that our basic soulfulness and honesty and whatever that we bring from 15 years of Whole Earth catalog will continue to be in that. There's a lot of people who could come along and absolutely knock us off, and then we'd have to review them. That would be nice.
And after a day of reviewing electronic products, Stewart Brand goes to his houseboat. And this former guru of the counterculture makes his home in the New Tech Times.
The Whole Earth software catalog should be available soon. Now, meanwhile, you may be contemplating buying a computer. Worse yet, you may have received one this past holiday season that's about to go from under the tree to the top shelf of the closet. In either case, you might enjoy reliving this Madison family's experiences. Here's Ken Munt's report.
Ooh, I only did that once or twice.
Yeah, and we're
I only did that and that once. That's the first
fooling
time.
around with it. In talking it over, it seemed to us that it would be able to do a lot of things for our kids in terms of just helping them learn in ways that otherwise they might not have been able to learn. So, Brandon, what did you do today?
Dennis and Tricia Day and their sons had to make a tough decision, a computer or a family vacation.
We'd already started talking about the fact that we'd been saving our money to go to the Grand Canyon. And I remember the night that we sat down and we said, well, you know, why don't we look at it this way? We can either go to the Grand Canyon or buy a computer. And Brendan thought it was a wonderful idea to buy the computer. Casey, when we first started talking about it, wasn't so sure that the Grand Canyon wouldn't have been a lot better than the computer.
I went out and purchased it myself, and I brought it home, got it all hooked up, turned it on, and it didn't work. And I have a friend who's into computers, and I called him up, and he said, that's strange. I mean, that's completely new to me. It should work. And I took it back, and sure enough, there was something wrong with the computer. So my initial reaction was absolute frustration, because I had to wait about 24 hours before I could take it back. And I was ready to throw the damn thing away.
When they finally got their computer plugged in and working, the next step was to buy software, programs for their computer.
It's been very frustrating. The last time that we were in looking for something to buy, I had asked the salesman if there was any good educational programming that he could recommend, and he showed me a few rather dull kinds of things. And then he said, but if you really want to see the best educational software in the shop, come over here, I'll show it to you. So I thought, oh, this is great. And I walked over and he put this disc in and he said, here it is. And it was a game. It was some little ladders and monsters chasing you or something. And he said, now this is the way to use a computer. And I thought, that's terrible.
Most of the creativity is going into the games, obviously. And so you end up with a product that is bad for two reasons. One, it's not very interesting, and therefore the kids aren't interested in sitting down and running it. And secondly, it's really not tailored for the needs of your children.
Some people have the feeling that you just go and you buy this thing and you bring it home and you turn it on and it does wonderful, dazzling things.
I think it was deleted.
You know what? It was deleted.
Yeah, entirely deleted. You couldn't get it out of the phone.
Okay. Well.
Months later, the computer still isn't dazzling the Day family, but it has become a new way to assist an old activity, storytelling.
Oh, no. You want oh no, or you want to keep suddenly?
Oh no, then a
Okay, I see. You want to say oh no.
And then whatever that thing is, I forget.
Okay. Brendan is a real creative kid. He loves to make up stories, and he loves to write, and he loves to figure out how to make his characters interact and do things. And the computer is a wonderful way for him to do that, because it's like just letting his mind go free.
I can go back and correct my mistakes more without having to worry about having an eraser, and I don't have to sharpen the pencil. And you can jump around in the program by just pressing a button, and your work comes out really nicely and neat, and you only need to do one draft.
For Casey, I think what is happening is he's finding out that he can work with ideas. The computer, I really believe, is getting that point across to Casey. I know what you can do.
I know you'll be able to do it.
He has this vocabulary spelling program that he works on every week. And it's a very simple program. It involves defining words and spelling them and then using them in context. Poison.
See, a spelling program, it's such a neat thing. It's like a game anyway. It makes it fun. The other good thing about the computer is it's not like the teachers I'm stuck with. You know, if you keep making a mistake, the teachers, you know, they'll say, no, try it. With the computer, just be calm, you know, like that.
We were looking it over the other night, and he said, you know, it's just amazing when I think all of that came from me. All of that came from me. I think that the computer can enhance family interaction if the family uses it that way, and that's the important thing. And even now, I think how terrible to be comparing the Grand Canyon to a computer. But the Grand Canyon will always be there, I hope, and computers will always be there too, but what we're getting out of it right now is really important. So I'm glad we did it.
Dr. Patrick Dixon is professor of child and family studies at the University of Wisconsin, does research, writing, and teaching about microcomputers and young children. He's back with us this week to talk about educational software. Hi, Pat. Welcome back to New Tech Times.
Hi.
All right, the parents have the microcomputer home. What's next?
Next comes the decision about what kind of software.
And what is software?
Software are the programs that make the computer do something. Without software, all you've bought is an expensive paperweight.
What kind of problems do the parents have when they go into the marketplace?
Big problems. The parent typically knows how to buy clothes. He knows how to buy toys. He can look at toys. Or even a book. He can look inside the book and see whether it's a good book for his child.
Well, you get a package with the software you can look at, don't you? You've brought along a couple examples here. Why don't you show us what they look like?
Well, these are interesting examples. This is a program called Sticky Bear ABC, which comes in a very glossy package. There's a program called Hodgepodge, which comes in very simple packaging, hardly more than the diskette.
All right, now I'd probably buy that one. What would I get? How much is it?
It's $40.
How much is Hodgepodge?
It's about $20. And for your $40, what you get is a colorful package, a book, and a disc of this sort. But you can't tell from looking at the disc what you've got, so let's look at the screen. I've put Sticky Bear ABC on the screen, and if you press the letter D, after some period of delay, a very colorful picture appears.
All right, now what's wrong with that? You've done research with kids. How do they react to that?
On first glance, they think it's beautiful and attractive. But pretty soon, very soon, it becomes boring.
What would make it more interesting?
Well,
what do they get with Hodgepodge, say? Is it better?
With Hodgepodge, you get all of the keys doing something. Some of the keys will draw, some will play music, others will make pictures that have more to do directly with the letter. For example, in this case, all of the animation is on the duck, not on the letter D. Presumably, the parent is interested in the child thinking about the letter D. With Hodgepodge, frequently the letters themselves jump around the screen. But here is a program which is colorful, colorfully packaged, on first glance is attractive to parents and children, but soon loses interest, and you've paid $40 for about a 40-page book.
How can a parent do better? What do you do in trying to buy something, as you quite properly point out, that you can't examine?
Well, there are a few computer stores now that will let you take software home for a day or so and try it out with your children. And I would urge you to look everywhere for a store that has that policy. Secondly, you need to turn to experts, such as your teachers in your local school, or reading magazines. There's a new magazine out called Family Computing, which is aimed directly at the parent needing that kind of information. There are a lot of other magazines coming out with software reviews, recommendations.
So like so many other things, learn as much as you can and try it out if they'll give you a chance to do it.
The bottom line is try to watch your child using it for longer than 15 minutes before deciding.
Thank you, Pat. We're always interested in knowing what software or other products you'd like to see reviewed during our new season. So if you have suggestions, write me here at the New Tech Times, 821 University Avenue, Madison, Wisconsin, 53706. There tends to be an inverse relationship between freedom and impact in mass media. There are nightclub acts that couldn't be recorded and records that couldn't be played on radio, local TV shows that, well, networks would censor. And now they have principles being fought out within the dozens of channels of cable television. So long as it's not forced on others, should you be free to watch whatever you're willing to pay for on the cable? Well, think about that as you watch Barry Stoner's report on the Playboy cable channel.
The man who lives in this house would like you to share his philosophy of life. His daughter would like you to pay for the privilege. And their company would like to reach as many customers as possible by offering that philosophy to you on cable television.
Well, it's Playboy's opportunity to take the style and the humor and the loyal readership of the magazine and really deliver that same product in another medium.
It's called the Playboy channel. We can't show you everything, but here's an edited glimpse of what they'd like to sell you.
It's the Disney Channel for adults. It's an erotic, sensual, fun, sexy kind of service.
And the fact that it's available in people's homes, instead of having to go to the Pussycat Theater, which most people would not necessarily want to have to go to, I think makes a big difference, because people are interested in things that are fun and sexy, but they're interested in sharing that with somebody that they care about in their home, and not necessarily with somebody wearing a raincoat next to them in a movie theater.
Who watches the Playboy channel? About 500,000 subscribers to this pay cable service.
We sort of presumed that it would tend to be a male experience as the magazine is, and we might get a little bit of female viewership, but not much. And the truth is that about 20% of our subscribers are actually single women, and another significant percentage, about 40%, are couples.
But programming the Playboy channel for this audience is not so easy to do.
The hard part of this job is that there are only a few people in the entire world who know how to make erotic visual material. And there's certainly even less who know how to make erotic visual material with wit and style.
It's Foreplay, a sitcom Playboy style.
And the reason for going to all this trouble? Corporate profits.
We are now at 500,000 subscribers, and if we in fact are able to maintain our rate of attracting, say, 15% of basic cable subscribers, well, that number is supposed to be up in the 40 to 50 million figure in the not too distant future. The economics of 4 or 5 million subscribers paying on average, $7 or $8 a month for the channel, obviously you can do the math, and it's a very lucrative business.
But there's trouble at the mansion because not everyone is eager for the Playboy channel. Last May in Cincinnati, the Playboy channel was offered by the local cable company. Soon after, Warner Amex was indicted by the grand jury for pandering obscenity. The channel was temporarily discontinued, and Pastor Jerry Kirk wants to make it permanent.
I think the people of America have had it. I think they're fed up to hear with the way that so many of the leaders of the media are promoting their convictions about family life and sexuality.
Here's a look at the sexy side of life with Sexcetera, the news according to Playboy.
The Playboy channel promotes the philosophy of the Playboy magazine, and the Playboy magazine has lent respectability to the startling growth of the avalanche of pornography.
That's just a word, and you could say pornography about anything you want if you want to stop somebody from doing something.
We don't attempt to portray the whole realm of sexuality, would not cover, S&M kinds of subjects at all, but very much from a point of view that when people are watching it together, which is more often true than not, then it should be kind of a nice prelude to intimacy. It should be something that people feel good about, that makes them feel good.
Frankly, after studying this for a year and a half, I've come to realize almost everybody wants to draw the line somewhere. The question is it partial nudity? Is it nudity? Is it heterosexual intercourse on tape? Is it homosexual forms of intercourse? Is it group sex? Is it child pornography, bestiality, or snuff? Where do you want to draw the line? Everybody wants to draw the line somewhere.
But other people in Cincinnati would rather make that decision for themselves. Will Gates is challenging the out-of-court settlement that is keeping the Playboy channel off the local cable system.
But here is something you subscribe to, just like subscribing to a magazine. And someone's coming and saying, hey, this thing that you just subscribed to, you can't have. We just don't think you can handle it. The community says you can't handle it. Well, I don't feel that the community has the right to tell me what I can handle and what I don't.
So we're not saying to people they can't see things in the privacy of their homes. We are saying the state law that's against the pandering of obscenity is to be enforced. It's a good law. It's proper. People ought not to make money selling this kind of material. So that's what we're saying.
And it's not an obscenity issue. It's a First Amendment issue as far as I'm concerned at this point. And whether it was the Playboy channel or the prevention of a liberal from talking or a conservative from saying what he wanted to say, it's the same thing. I'm being denied a right to hear something, view something. It's secondary that it happens to be obscene, or may be obscene, because it hasn't been proven that it was obscene.
The Playboy Channel, it's raising corporate hopes, cable headaches, and community controversy about adult entertainment in the New Tech Times.
Since that report was prepared, I've learned that sloppy cable installations often result in pay services being received in homes that haven't subscribed. You may not want the Playboy Channel and find you're getting it anyway. Well, needless to say, that turns the free speech arguments into a whole new ballgame for the cable industry. Well, this is the last of our three-part review of the past fall season. Next week, we'll be back with the first of 16 brand new shows, and I hope you will be too. For the New Tech Times staff, I'm Nicholas Johnson.
The New Tech Times has been brought to you through a grant from Wausau Insurance Companies. Times change. Wausau works.
For discount information and copies of the booklets How to Buy a Home Computer and How to Buy a Telephone, send $1 to the New Tech Times, 821 University Avenue, Madison, Wisconsin, 53706.